Hello and welcome to Action1. Today we're going to be discussing how you can use Action1 to automate your third-party patching across your endpoints. So the first thing we're going to want to do within Action1 to set up our third-party patching automation is to create some new endpoint groups. The idea behind these is that we can create test groups, we can create main production groups, and then we can control how frequently those different groups and collections of endpoints receive updates. This way we can make sure that a collection of systems are receiving those third-party patches before they go to primary production. By creating a new endpoint group, we can go in and we can target a collection of systems. This could be things like ADOU as an example. We could grab values from an AD security group or even an IP address range of some sort. So that way we can make sure we're targeting a particular VLAN as necessary. Now, once you've created your groups, you will then be able to go in and create a collection of automations. So through the automation section, we can very quickly say deploy update. By saying deploy update, we are then given some different criteria that we can choose from. I can pick things like matching filters to then target a certain update source. In this instance, since we're focusing on third-party patches, we can target applications. Now, this will cover all applications in our software repository. That means anything that is marked as built-in or any software you upload yourself will be covered by that collection. This way you can ensure that all of your third-party patches are being successfully updated. Now, when you select a filter like this is quite broad, but that is generally not a bad thing, especially for third-party patching. We want to make sure we have as wide of coverage as possible. But if you would prefer, you can target specific updates, say via name. So I could have Action1 target anything with Google in the name, or I could have it target, say, anything with Firefox in the name as an example, and so on. Or I can just pick specific vendors as well for more detailed targeting. Now, if we continue downward, we can see a couple things of note here. One is that Action1 does use peer-to-peer file sharing for its third-party patching to minimize how much bandwidth is being consumed by your devices. So this way you can trust that you're not seeing an overly large amount of bandwidth being used to download those third-party patches. Now, there's a couple other configuration options we can choose here when setting up our third-party patching automation. We can set and configure this to be fully automatic. This is probably the most common type of set for third-party patching. You can put in delay windows as well between the release day of the application update itself and when it will be allowed to be installed on your devices. So I can do a 5-day delay, for an example. Manual approval is an option, but it is less common for third-party patching than, say, Windows updates or OS updates. But if you do wish to use this, you can set this flag. And when this flag is set, you will need to go into update approval and manually select the third-party patches that you want to approve or decline. This way you have a little more control for what's being deployed for your updates. Going back to our automation here, we can control things like automatic reboots. Now, to be fair, it's not going to be terribly common for third-party application patching. So you can likely turn off that automatic reboot function. If you want to keep it on, you can, but just be aware that this can be set to notify the end user that a reboot is required, and then you can set how much time they have until that reboot will be forced through. You can do update exclusions here. So if you have a broad targeting, say you're doing all third-party application updates, but you want to explicitly ignore a very specific update, you can come in here and target that particular update and add an exclusion in. From there, we have the checkbox here that is designed to control Windows updates. This, of course, is not necessary for third-party patching, so feel free to uncheck that as necessary. And then we will then target our grouping that we want to start with. So patching group A is my test group. I will start there, and I can make additional automations after this, targeting my other groups. And then I can set this to run on a regular basis. For third-party patching, we do always recommend, the more frequent we can be doing these updates, usually the better. For the simple fact that our repository contains a large collection of updates from a variety of different vendors. So release schedules are going to, of course, vary from vendor to vendor to vendor. And as such, if we can be more frequent, we are reducing the amount of time between those updates being deployed and of course, reducing how long vulnerabilities may exist in our environment. The final study of note for these automation creations is that you can configure a missed schedule retry window and maintenance window with this setting right here. The primary idea behind this, let's say we're doing patching at 3 p.m. on Monday, not every device might be reachable at this time. Could be due to vacations or time off. So we can configure this maintenance window to have an extended time frame, say 7 days in this example. And with this being set, any system that is not reachable at this time, as long as it comes online within 7 days, it'll still receive its update. Let's say it turns online on Thursday, it will still receive the third-party patches that it's missing. The other way we can look at this is if we have a dedicated maintenance window. Again, less necessary for workstations, probably more used for servers, and even less so when you consider we're doing third-party patching. But regardless, you can tell Action1, let's say we're doing our server patching every Saturday at 1 a.m., that I only want to run till 5 a.m. This 4-hour window will do exactly that and make it so updates will only install during that 4-hour time window. After that time window, we will stop the update process to make sure that system is ready for production use. Now, once you create your first update automation, you can then create another one and target your next group in line, your next group, and have those staggered out between different scheduling options. And then, of course, once these update deployments are created, we're going to start to see these update numbers go down, our vulnerability numbers go down, and as such, we're going to be more secure overall. Thank you very much, and have a good rest of your day.